One of the most well-known natural wonders in the world, the Grand Canyon, has recently shed light on a puzzling enigma that's baffled scientists for a considerable amount of time. Recent research has shown that the Grand Canyon does not contain any rocks that are older than 1 billion years, which means that its geological history is blank. Researchers are perplexed as a result of this enigma and are looking for answers. Within the layers of the canyon, scientists noticed a striking contrast between rocks with ages ranging from 1.4 to 1.8 billion years old and rocks with ages ranging from 520 million years old. This led them to make the discovery. Because of this significant hole in the geological record, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered about the rocks that are missing and the processes that might have led to their disappearance. The geological anomalies were investigated using cutting-edge methods such as thermochronology and chemical analysis so that scientists could solve this puzzle and find the answers they were looking for. Their findings imply that significant geological occurrences, which may or may not have been associated with the breakup of the supercontinent Rodinia, may have contributed to the formation of this peculiar gap. Not only is it essential for deciphering the geological history of the area around the Grand Canyon, but it's also essential for shedding light on the complex and dynamic processes that have shaped our planet over the course of million years. Understanding the reasons behind the missing billion years of rocks in the Grand Canyon is crucial for both of these purposes. By analyzing the evidence and radioactive decay that's been preserved in the rocks, scientists can determine the temperature history of a rock using a technique called thermochronology, which is a subfield of geochronology. They are able to infer the timing of geological events that affected the region as well as the magnitude of those events by analyzing the rates at which the rocks cooled. In addition, methods of chemical analysis were utilized in order to investigate the rocks' characteristics and composition in greater detail. These methods offer valuable insights into the mineralogy, elemental composition, and thermal history of the rocks, providing information about the processes that shaped the geological history of the Grand Canyon. The thorough research that the scientists conducted led them to an important discovery, which was a void in the geological record. According to this discovery, the Grand Canyon is lacking a significant amount of rock layers that span over 1 billion years in its geological history. As a result of these revelations, further research has been prompted, and intriguing questions regarding the geological processes that led to this peculiar phenomenon have been raised. The discovery of fossilized footprints of reptiles has provided scientists with important new information regarding the early development of locomotion in vertebrates. These fossilized footprints of extinct reptiles have provided a window into the past by illuminating a pattern of walking referred to as lateral sequence. The movement of limbs in this walking style takes place in a side-to-side sequence, which was previously thought to have emerged much later on the evolutionary timeline. Previous assumptions about the development of locomotion in vertebrates have been called into question by the observation of this walking pattern being present in reptiles from such an early period. The fact that reptiles traveled through the area millions of years ago is demonstrated by the fact that their footprints have been preserved so well in the Grand Canyon. Scientists are able to gain insight into the behaviors and adaptations of extinct reptiles by studying these footprints as well as the characteristics of the footprints themselves. This discovery not only broadens our understanding of life in the prehistoric era, but it also highlights the significance of the Grand Canyon as an important repository of paleontological marvels. Cave exploration in the Grand Canyon has yielded some very interesting new information about the prehistoric animals that once lived in and around this magnificent natural wonder. Recent excavations have unearthed two fascinating artifacts, the feces of sloths and the mummified remains of bats. These findings provide compelling evidence of the presence of animals in the caves in the past. The discovery of sloth feces, also known as dung, offers a wealth of information regarding the ecological function of these extinct creatures as well as their eating habits. Scientists are able to determine the types of plants that sloths consumed as well as gains insight into the ecosystem that existed during the time period by carefully analyzing the composition of the dung. The discovery of bats that have been mummified adds yet another dimension to the complex history of the caves in the Grand Canyon. The study of the morphology, behavior, the evolutionary adaptations of these winged mammals can benefit greatly from the preservation of these specimens. They provide a window into the past by shedding light on the variety of bat species that used to inhabit the area as well as the distribution of those species throughout the region. These discoveries shed light on the Grand Canyon's role as an ecological crossroads and add to our knowledge of the prehistoric animals that used to call that area home. These relics provide a tantalizing glimpse into the past, which enriches our understanding of the natural history of this remarkable geological wonder. Because of the actions of humans, the Colorado River, which serves as a vital link for the ecosystems and communities it passes through, is in imminent danger of becoming completely depleted of water. In particular, the construction of dams and the redirection of rivers have had a significant impact on the flow of water through the Grand Canyon, which has led to growing concerns about the river's potential in the future. Dams that have been built along the Colorado River have disrupted its natural flow, which has slowed the movement of water further downstream and reduced the amount of water that's available for consumption by humans and other organisms. In addition, river diversion projects have redirected water in order to satisfy rising demands for agricultural, industrial, and residential use. This has further exacerbated the strain that's being placed on the river's resources. Urgent action is necessary in order to avert the impending catastrophe. The implementation of conservation strategies, the implementation of sustainable water management practices, and the re-evaluation of the impacts of damming and river diversion are all essential steps that must be taken in order to preserve the vitality of the Colorado River and ensure that it will continue to exist as an important natural resource for generations to come. The discovery of uranium in the region surrounding the Grand Canyon raises significant concerns, in particular with regard to the potential risks that are associated with the mining of uranium. The history of the area includes the presence of old mines, which adds another layer of complexity to the situation and makes the risks even greater. Mining for uranium has the potential to cause a variety of negative effects on both the environment and human health. During the extraction process, radioactive particles and toxic substances are released into the environment. These particles and substances have the potential to contaminate the air, the soil, and the water sources, which poses a risk to both human health and the ecosystem that's nearby. The existence of abandoned mines, in particular, is cause for concern because these sites may still be home to abandoned infrastructure and other remnants, which may further contribute to the deterioration of the environment and may expose people to potentially hazardous substances. To ensure that the people and the environment are kept safe, it's necessary to give careful consideration to the establishment of stringent safety regulations and to put those regulations into practice. Uranium mining carries with it a certain level of risk. However, this risk can be mitigated by taking important precautions such as ensuring adequate monitoring and containment of radioactive materials, as well as safe disposal of mining waste. The area around the Grand Canyon and the communities that surround it must be protected at all costs, and one of the most important ways to do this is to educate people about the potential dangers that exist there and ensure that abandoned mines are completely rehabilitated. In the late 1800s, when European explorers first began to arrive in the area, the Havasupai tribe faced the possibility of being driven from their traditional lands. In spite of this, they persisted, and as a result, they were granted a reservation comprising 518 hectares in Havasu Canyon. Their rights were eventually acknowledged to a great degree by the government, which culminated in the awarding of 185,000 acres of land within the canyon as well as along its rim in 1975. And with that, we'll see you in the next one. If you want to continue watching more, be sure to subscribe to the channel.